me, keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you tied a rope to me. You're blessing me every day. I was down with an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings. But now I shine with your reflection on me. I'm getting back up on my feet. That you showed up was written in my palm. You are a statement, explode like a bomb. I get to push myself to victory. You make me winner. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. Yes, I'm the winner, yeah. Yes, I'm the winner, yes. Am I awake or am I dreaming? So far gone, I won't look back. And when I move, there ain't no stopping me. You're pushing me up to the top. I saw the clouds looking angry, but then the sky reached my mind. And when I space out, I see the possibilities unfolding the way that I want. That you showed up was written in my palm. You are a statement, explode like a bomb. I get to push myself to victory. You make me winner. You cut me loose and set me free. You cut me loose. You make me win in every way. Win in every way. You show me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You show me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. Yes, I'm the winner, yeah. Cause I'm the winner, yes. Cause I'm the winner, yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yes, I'm the winner, yeah.
Hello. Hello, everyone who is joining us live. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you, Joyce Johnson. The amazing Joyce Johnson is here with me. And I'm so happy and honored that you're agreed to join me to
Thanks
talk
for having
about
me,
this
Jen.
important topic. So thank you. For anyone who doesn't know you, I'm not sure who that might be, but can you share a little bit about yourself?
Hi there. I'm Joyce Johnson, author, speaker, sales champion coach, and founder of Y Sales Network, a global sales training organization which trains individuals, entrepreneurs, and small business owners on the sales process so they can learn how to win in sales.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And of course, you've been on my LinkedIn Live before,
Yes.
but I'm always honored to have you because you're so motivational and you bring so many insights. And so when I saw a post you did about just protecting your emotional health, it really inspired me, right? I thought, it was impactful, and I understand that you lost someone, and I'm so sorry for your loss.
Yes.
Yeah. And so tell me, when you were thinking about the post and what you were sharing, what prompted, like, we already talked about what prompted it, but tell me what your thoughts are around protecting your emotional health.
I think it's just important for us to protect our emotional health, right? I mean, and to really listen to our mind, our bodies, our spirit, our women's intuition that we have, considering this is Women Entrepreneurship Day, I think I should highlight that as well.
Yeah.
Because we go and we go and we go until we collapse, right? And we, I wrote a book earlier this year, No Back Doors for Me, that talked about a lot of isms and things that I dealt with in a workplace. And so we always think we're strong, we can do this, we can work through it. And I think that it begins to, like anything else, people talk a lot about wear and tear on your automobiles, just a wear and tear on your body, a wear and tear
No,
on your spirit, right? A wear and tear
100%.
on your mind.
Yeah, you need to make sure that you're taking time for you, right? That
Yes,
you're
absolutely.
protecting your emotions, your spirit, your energy. It's funny when when the music stopped and we went live, you actually looked like you were meditating there for a moment. Were you doing a little bit of meditating or praying or
I wasn't. I do often hopping on, but I wasn't. I was just, well, I guess maybe you can call it meditation, but as I tell my nieces, like, you just got to put your game face on.
Mhm.
So I was taken in that moment.
Yeah. Well, and I do that too. I do my superhero pose. That's why at the beginning of the song you see all those superheroes, right? It's
Yes,
because it reminds me of my superhero pose. Like I'm ready to go take over the world, right?
absolutely.
In
Yeah,
my pose. It helps
in your
me
pose.
with my mindset. So and you posted something on LinkedIn which, like to let people know that you were coming on here, and it made me pause because you said in the post that you typically talk about sales, right? And
Yes.
that this was a little different. And it made me think, I'm like, well, but it's not different though, to me anyway, right?
Okay.
So I posed this question of, you know, emotional health, like how important is mindset to sales? And so what do you
Mindset is
think
very
about that?
important. Yeah, mindset is very important in sales, right? It takes a very strong mindset to be in sales, probably any job. But we, as salespeople, we think that our job is the most amazing and probably the most, requires the most amount of energy and the amount of, for lack of better words, hustle and get up and go, right? And so, like I was saying then, just I was kind of loose on, you put your game face on and get ready. And so, mental health and sales should be talked about a little bit more, because I do know that, I have a cup here that says, that we sell on our website. It says, "Don't bother me." It's the last week of the month. And it sells that last week of the month. For those of you who don't know, it can be very stressful. And it's all about meeting our goals and meeting those sales goals and those numbers that we are measured on continuously, right? I think in some organizations, they have quarterly goals, they have half a year goals. And in the same organization, different teams. But in sales, we're constantly, what's our week? What are we closing this week? What are we closing this month? What are we closing this quarter? What are we closing this year? It is a constant reminder that you're constantly inspecting what you expect and trying to get to a goal. And there's very little times, often, I mean, you may agree, to relax from it.
Yeah.
We're always on. We're always
Well,
on.
there's the always on, but then also when you do take time off, I struggled with this before starting my new job. I
Right.
had a chunk of time off and I didn't know how to relax. Like I couldn't, like I struggled for like the first, and I had almost a month, and the
Yes.
first 2 weeks I was like, I'm not relaxing. Like I don't feel relaxed. How am I going to relax? Like
Yeah.
I know that I need to relax, but
I was
how
in
do I get
Bahamas
to the
last week and I couldn't
relaxation
relax.
stage, right? Like I'm
Right.
excited. I'm like, I gave myself too much time because I can't relax.
Can't relax.
I did figure it out, but it was a lot of long walks and like soothing music, and I found it odd that I took this extra time to relax, but then had to teach myself how to do it.
Right.
And I think that not, I mean, I talk to a lot of folks out there who struggle with it as well. This you're always on.
We're always on. Like I just said, I was in the Bahamas last week. and I was just always on, right? And the one day that I was to have Sunday downtime, I couldn't even really figure that out. Right? I said I am going to get up and watch the sunrise and the different things, and it didn't happen. And I'm with my iPad. Finally, I tell myself just to sit on the sofa and watch the football game, and open up all the blinds to the suite so I can see all the amazing views. And but you just find it's hard because then you have this entrepreneurship life where you are still on those numbers and focus on those goals and those goals that are taking place consistently. So, we get there. I used to go and get quite a bit of massages and things. And, to COVID, I didn't do that. So there's that. And, I can use a facial right now. There's that, all those things that we didn't do during COVID to probably help us relax a little bit. Right. And,
yeah. And that's what I do as well.
Yeah. And those activities, right? Rather those activities, we're going to the gyms weren't really open. So then we're trying to figure out how to walk outside, just, but I think it's just important to protect our mental health. And when people are in our space and imposing on our space and imposing not in a positive way. And I'll go even, Jen, to say whether it's personal or professional, because I think sometimes we have to learn to love people at a distance.
That's yeah. I mean, that's very true. I feel that one.
Yeah. Sometimes we have to learn to love people at a distance.
Love people at a distance.
So that we can love ourselves and take care of ourselves.
Yeah. That really resonates with me. So, and that would be the essence of protecting your emotional health.
Yes.
So what are some other ways that, we've talked about massage, we've talked about going to the gym and doing, physical fitness. I do a lot of music and podcasts and just things to just kind of settle me down. What are some other ways?
Well, my mom reminded me of listening to music, right? And so I did start listening to music, but I find it a little distracting because I want to listen to the music and sing along. It's like, no, I need to focus on my work. So, fasting, I started a fast, actually. I've done a couple of fasts in the last few months where I've done some fasts. And as you said, some meditation and just getting up in the morning and, having my green tea. And I have a little thing I do in the mornings, right? So I'll do some reading and I have my green tea. I do like an emergency package every day. So some health-based things, but it's really so that I can be in the calm and prepare my mind, because my mom says often I hit the floor running, and I really do. If I could just, I hit the floor running. I do in thought. Did I lose you? Did you? Oh, I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Jen, you're on mute. Yeah. Okay.
No.
I was like, I can't hear you. Yes.
No, something happened with my AirPods. They just died. I'm like, I can't hear Joyce. I can't, I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
So I will just take them out because it's not like it's super noisy here anyway. I didn't hear any of that. So hopefully,
it took you back into mute again. I don't know why it's kicking you. I think your iPods are probably continuing to try to pick up. So so now you're unmuted, but it automatically muted you again because I think your iPods are probably trying to pick up and overpower. They're probably connected to your computer.
So yeah, no, it looks like everything is off.
Okay, awesome.
Looks like nothing is connected, so we should be good.
Connected. Let's do it. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know if we actually went live to LinkedIn because nobody's commenting. So
okay,
we'll have to check that out. Regardless, Twitter worked fine last time. I think the video at the beginning is too long, and LinkedIn's just like, nope.
Oh wow.
So that's a lesson learned. I did it last week with the video, and I was like, well, we'll just see. But because it did record 15 minutes in, but
Okay.
Who knows?
Yeah, I
Think
know
things
that
it's going to be that way.
Leanne on my team was trying to get in. Let me ask her if she sees us on again.
It's okay. I know Twitter
Okay.
works just fine. So
Right,
we're
let's just do
fine
it. We'll post
somewhere.
it there later. Yeah, we'll post the link there later.
No big deal. So yeah. So I mean, you were talking about your mom, and I didn't catch it. I'm sorry.
Oh, I
Hopefully,
was just saying that my mom reminded me of listening to music and how it can be calming. But then I get into the scene where I want to listen to the music and I want to go along with the words, and it's distracting. So I can't do music.
well, yeah. So if you're trying to work when doing the music, then you're not really doing the relaxing thing, right? So
Yeah.
listen to music without like trying to do the work, and singing along may actually help. I know.
Right.
One thing I love about the holidays is I start getting into my holiday jam of like listening to holiday music and singing along, and like singing along. And so the kids were dying to put up Christmas. So we did that. And I started listening to Christmas music. So I was going for a walk the other morning. It was dark. It was like really early. And I'm listening to Christmas music and I'm singing along, just walking down the street.
Yeah.
And this guy just so startled me. I'm sure I startled him. Here I am singing, and I don't
Right.
singing voice. Like,
Right.
it's not kind to anyone else. I was not helping their mental health.
Well, that's okay. You were helping yours, and that's okay. You're helping yours. You know, another thing about that post that I made is, as I mentioned in that post, I had a day where I had a sales day. I had my calendar full. It was a sales day. I needed to close business. I needed to have those calls that I was having and that focus. And so I pushed through, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know if I always agree with that. I don't know if I always agree with that. I'm thinking sometimes maybe we need to not push through, and maybe we need to reschedule our day, because I tell you how I was feeling that day. Was exhausted. Right. I was exhausted. I was, from just work and going and going and going. And I didn't look my best that day. When I go back and look at myself, oh, wow, I was looking horrible. Right. And so, but I pushed through that day. And so all day long, people are like, oh, how are you? And it's like, oh, great. How are you? And it's, and you're going through it. And, and they say sometimes with mindset that you have to put yourself into the mindset that you need to be in, so that you can go through that. But I question sometimes, is that really the right way to do it?
I mean, we're all allowed to be human, even entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And there's power in being vulnerable and saying, I'm really not doing that well today. I have stuff going on.
Yes.
I was in a team meeting just the other day, and someone said that, and I owned up to also not being my best self that day, right? And just some things weighing on me. And, even taking the time to acknowledge it or talk about it sometimes will help you have that clearer mindset so that you can go into the next thing, because you've let some of it go. What do you think about that?
I think sometimes you do have to let some of it go, because also, I've coached sales professionals for years on not doing that stressful close, right? Not doing that desperate close, not going in there. And so although it wasn't a desperate close, it was a little stressful. I think sometimes maybe you can miss something important that you need to, right? If you're not at your best self.
Well, and it's important to take time, right? And think about it, right? So I posted an article the other day about sort of the mindset for sales and some ways to not ride the emotional roller coaster. And one thing that I like to do is sort of strategize and weigh my options of like taking a page from Dale Carnegie, what's the worst possible outcome? I don't have this meeting right now because I know that I'm not my best self. What's the worst possible outcome? What's the best? How can I improve upon this? If I share a moment of vulnerability and say, look, I've got some things going on, would it be okay? Or like that human connection also builds the connection. Right. And there's value in that. in that relationship building and being able to connect as humans and not being perfect all the time.
Right. And I think that sometimes probably more, I don't want to speak for men. I do talk to men about these things, and how one of my best friends, a guy, and my house he uses as his man cave. His mother-in-law moved in, and so he no longer has a man cave.
Oh, poor guy.
So my house is now my patio, my balcony is his man cave. But anyway, so we do have these conversations, and so and he just says he doesn't process it the same, right? Or he doesn't feel as much. And although he does have the added of his mother-in-law, and he's helping out with her a lot because his wife actually goes out to work and he's at home, and the mother-in-law is at home in early Alzheimer's. He said he just processes it differently. It's not still, he doesn't get as stressed about it as his wife gets about it. And so I don't know if there's some gene, some hormone that's different or what, but I do think as women sometimes we do have probably a little bit more on our shoulders, or we take on more on our shoulders. I think sometimes we put things on ourselves that really aren't there.
Well,
Pressure from someone else. They're there, but like I said, and I say with sales goals, a leader can never give me a larger sales goal than what I'm going to have for myself.
yeah, no, and I think you're right. So, like, I wrote an article recently about, why you need more women on your sales team. And so I mentioned some of those skills that women bring to the table. And there's a higher level of EQ. So one of our strengths, that higher level of EQ, also makes it a little bit more difficult when something challenging happens that interacts with that EQ, right?
Right.
Where we have a little bit more pressure. So, and it's funny because I did that top Clifton Strengths Finder recently,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So
love that.
that thing where
one.
your strengths
Yes.
also are, especially for me, my weaknesses. Like my top strength is strategy.
Yes.
And that's great, except when I'm walking around in the middle of the night strategizing about all the different ways something can go. I'm thinking about, okay, I should have said this at that meeting. If I had said that, they would have said that. And then I would have said that. But if I said that like the strategy that's always going on, and the additional time that I spend on just thinking about all of the possible roads.
You're right. That's me too. That's we're so aligned on that. Sure, find a rate. So yes. So when we're getting ready to fall asleep at night, our mind is still going in on that, right?
Yeah, and that's probably why we need also more different ways to relax, right? That's why I need, like, a massage will always relax me.
Right.
Now I know that. I didn't know that during that period of that month.
Right.
But what are you gonna do?
And sometimes life just happens. We've this is face it. I mean, COVID has been impactful no matter what. It's even people that I was sharing with someone that there was a gentleman that I've been talking to since 2018 when I first initially talked about creating my How to Win in Sales training programs, and then when I decided to do it this year, I reached out to him. I couldn't find any social presence. I couldn't find anything. And this is a business he had been doing since he was in college, right? And he had been doing it for about 13 years. And so I finally realized and reached out to an extended person in his network that we lost him during COVID. And so when you look at, things like that happen in our daily lives, things like that will jolt you, no matter who you are and what you have going on, right? No matter who you are and what you have going on, there are some things that we are not so insensitive of a world, although we appear to be. We're not, at least I'm not, and this is a world that those type of things aren't going to impact us, And I had also mentioned before, prior to COVID, that I lost someone that was very close to me. And so you have those days when everything's over and the calls stop coming in, and you're just sitting by yourself in your thoughts, thinking about that loss and feeling that loss.
Yeah, No, I hear you, and I'm sorry to hear that you lost someone. I lost a coworker that I was very close to at my last position. That kind of really shook me, just a
Yeah.
little bit, just
Yeah.
like sort of took the wind out of my sails, stopped me in my tracks, kind of like, oh my goodness.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um,
That's a very real thing, and for anyone, man, woman, whoever, that's a very real thing. And so we're living life, we're working, we're entrepreneurs, we are pivoting during COVID. We are, we're hiring in team members, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and all the things that comes with that. And so we get into that space where and then we have our personal lives. So you get into that space where you're juggling a lot of things. And for me, I think what I found to be best for me as a late that I started for the first time, I think back in August, was to just do a fast.
the fast.
Yes. And so I have done several fasts since that time.
And so, what kind of fast are you doing? Tell me more about the fast.
Well, my fast is, to have that quiet time, right?
Mhm.
To have that quiet time, that spiritual time, to wake up in the morning, like I said, still, fix my green tea, and, drink a bottle of water, my green tea, my orange, sit there and, read my Bible. You may want to read something motivational, something for yourself. But for me, just getting back to some basics, and reading my Bible, and, and just having that quiet time instead of my feet hitting the floor, me thinking about the strategy and the things I got to do for that day and hopping right into that. I also changed doing my fast, I changed my eating habit. So I would not do any alcohol, no wine, ladies. No, no alcohol, no sugar, sugar, carbs type things. And really, I was trying to do no meat, but I got really low energy the first time, and so I had to incorporate a little meat into it.
Yeah,
I
that
definitely felt
sounds.
different. It was too much because I didn't slow down my pace of what I was doing. I needed the nutrition.
Yeah, so that I do something similar. So I do keto. So basically all meat. No carbs, no sugar. Though in the morning, like you, I do coffee though.
Yeah.
I do my coffee, but I'll journal. I'll listen to music and some podcasts. But for my diet in general, I stick to keto. So no carbs, no sugar, just protein. And so that helps me with the energy. And I've
Yeah.
been doing that for a while.
Yeah.
It's actually been years on
Wow.
and off.
Okay. Yeah. I know a friend of mine, Michelle, does that, but and it's just during that time. And I think the first time I came off of my first 7-day fast, I immediately went to Whataburger and bought a burger, and it made me like feel so bad. Oh, I felt like literally sick. My body was rejecting it. My body was rejecting it. But
So I totally get that, right? And well, and it helps with your energy,
it helps with
because
your
like for me, like my goal is to get into ketosis where my body is sort of burning fat. And when it
energy.
does that, it like I feel the energy sort of surging, like I could go do anything at that
Right.
point. So that helps me as well. Though I have a harder time staying in it, and I don't do liquor unless it's a special occasion.
Yeah.
I'm now, it used to be that special occasions were just like going out, right? Now
Right.
to go out is a special occasion. So um it's different. And obviously that's going to change as COVID goes on, and hopefully getting out more. I'm excited
Right.
because I'm starting to get out more, starting to book some trips and starting to do some stuff. So
Yeah.
uh,
One thing I would like to challenge our women to do, and I've tried to challenge myself to do it too, is just that when we wake up in that morning or that afternoon, evening, whenever we're feeling in that space where we're not well, to to maybe reach out to someone, or when someone asks us how are you doing, just say, you know what, I'm just not today. I'm just having a tough day, right? And I know that's hard to do, but I think once we say it, I think it comes, I have times where I call my mom and, and she answers, and I'm like, Mom, just, say a prayer for me, right? Let's just pray. Let's say a prayer for me. And so I encourage people to be able to do just that, because we have to help ourselves. We're such great helpers of other people. We're such great problem solvers for other people. And the truth is, we can't pour from an empty cup. And
100%.
we can't pour from an empty cup. And when I think about my sorority sister, my good friend that I lost to cancer, and how she took care of everyone and everything, and with her mind and her thoughts and her conversations were always on other people, right? And I think that we have to also allow other people to take care of us. We
Yeah.
have to grant people the opportunity to love us back.
And that only starts with sharing, right?
No, it starts with sharing. It
And
starts
so
with sharing.
it's important to have those vulnerable moments and to share.
Right.
I think that helps protect that emotional health. And
It does. It does. We have to, start with sharing with someone with just pick up the phone and call someone, right? I live alone. I have my nieces come through here and terrorize every once in a while, but I live alone. So if you're living alone and you're working alone and different things, sometimes you have those days like the day I was having when I made that video, just saying, I've been talking to people all day and they're like, how are you? And you're like, oh, great. And it's like, no, it's just honestly wasn't a great day.
It was very authentic.
Mhm.
And so that's what struck me about it, was that it's like, this is just was, I felt it in that moment.
Yeah.
And so that's what I liked about it.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. We're at time. So
All right,
any
Jen.
final thoughts from you on emotional health and mindset or sales or anything?
Yeah, well, again, this Women Entrepreneurship Day.
Yes.
I just wrapped up another interview, and what I said to the women is, don't lose alone, right? I was talking to someone who I've mentored and coached maybe a month or so ago, Tam, and she said, well, I'm going to tell you what you tell me. And I said, well, what's that, Tam? She said, don't lose alone. Ask for help.
Yeah,
So,
100%. I even had that in that little video, Win Together, right?
yeah, win together. Don't
Bring on everyone, do it together,
Yes.
because we can
Let's
all
It was
elevate.
an amazing video. I don't know what social media don't like about it, but that's an amazing video. I love that. That thing should be like buzzing all over YouTube. It's like a great TV commercial.
Yeah, I invested so much time into doing it. I
Wonderful.
want to be able to use it, but I
Yes.
don't know that LinkedIn is going to let me. I don't know.
Yes. Well, find a platform that's
Um,
going to let you use it, because it needs to get out there. It's
well,
great.
thank you. Yeah, no, I posted it. I posted it when I first created it, and I was like, yeah, I got it, just the way I wanted it, right? And but I don't know if it's going to work as an intro. We'll have to give it maybe another shot. Though I've got Stacy Vanek Smith joining me on December 3rd for Machiavelli for Women, which,
Yes, I saw
my
that.
goodness, it is such a good book.
Yeah.
One of the best books that I listened to this year.
I may listen to it over this holiday. I saw it pop up on my Audible, but I saw it from you first because I think I have a conflict that day. But I was like, gosh, I wish I could, be there. But I think I'm gonna download it also.
Yeah, I wish I had heard it like a decade ago, because there's the difference between the advice that you just give someone that is advice that sort of feels good in the moments of
Yes.
when things happen, right? And
Mhm.
then there's the advice that someone might give you that you don't want to hear that might actually work. And what was interesting to me is the distinction between both in the book. Like,
Right.
this is what you want to hear, but this is what's actually going to work.
This is what's happening.
This
This is
you know
real
what I
time.
mean? And I found that super, just like, you know, I ask questions all the time of like, okay, what do I do about that? Or what one situation or another. And I know there's always the advice that would be super satisfying to do, where I take my space and I take all, like, I am woman, hear me roar, right? And then there's the stuff that would actually work for me to achieve my goals.
Yeah.
And that distinction was just like, oh my goodness.
Love
So
that. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely listen to. I think I posted one day on LinkedIn. I think you gave me one because I was like, hey, I have all these Audible credits.
yeah,
And I was doing the thing where I was listening to Audible as I was falling asleep, or at night to kind of help me relax or what have you. But then I would fall asleep and the book would keep going and I wouldn't know where I left off. And so that was like, okay, well, that's not a good idea.
yeah, that's not. I typically will listen to books on walks, and so
Yes.
if someone out there is downloading books, you have to also download Joyce's book, right? And take a
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
check
Well,
it out, because that's a really good book as well. It
yes.
was just yeah.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you for that. The
thank
No,
you.
No Back Doors for Me book is on Audible, and I'm going to be sort of repurposing the top 10 sales tips for college grads because it's really something that goes across the board. So I have some things I'm going to add to that and make it only Audible. So
Oh,
that's
that's
coming
awesome.
soon the first of the year. Yeah. So I'm going to go into the studio for holidays and record it.
That's great. Well,
Yeah.
that's amazing. All right. Well, I hope everyone has an amazing Thanksgiving. Joyce, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank
Oh,
you.
get so many interesting insights. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts,
Yes.
your vulnerability. I very much appreciate it. So
Thank you, Jen. Thanks, everyone. Don't
thank
lose
you,
alone.
everybody.
Take care of you.